A script like Nightcrawler gives me an opportunity to truly realise a vision that's mine, which is exciting. Dan Gilroy is best known for his work as a writer, but made his directorial debut with Nightcrawler in 2014 that he also wrote with an idea that he conceived in 1988. Today I'm going to be going over the cinematography behind Nightcrawler, talking about the pre-production process, how they create isolation in cinematography, and what equipment Robert Elswit used to create the look for the film. After reading Naked City, a book based around a collection of photos from photographer Ouija, who is best known for his stark black and white street photography that depicted realistic scenes of crime, injury and death which all took place in New York City in the 1940s. This work led to Gilroy having the idea for Nightcrawler in 1988. He spent years trying to write a plot that worked, experimenting with murder mysteries and conspiracies. When he was unable to create an interesting hero type, Gilroy envisioned an anti-hero as the lead. He then used films such as The King of Comedy, To Die For, and The Talented Mr. Ripley as research on how to write a good anti-hero. When choosing who to cast in the film, Jake Gyllenhaal was Gilroy's first choice, but at the time he was shooting Prisoners in Atlanta, so Gilroy met him there to discuss the script. After becoming heavily involved in the film, Gyllenhaal did everything from choosing crew to watching audition tapes. As for Rick, it was a different story, as they had 75 actors audition for the role, and when Riz Ahmed went to discuss the script, Gilroy said that he had seen his previous work and he was not fit for the film, until he watched his audition tape and within the first minute felt confident of his ability. When principal photography began, some members of the crew didn't believe that there was enough time to film every scene and thought that at least 15 pages would have to be cut. However, Gilroy took this as a personal challenge and after wrapping remarked that there was never a day that filming was not completed minutes before sunrise. They screened an unfinished version of the film at the 2014 Cannes Film Festival, with several distribution companies competing for the rights to the film, including A24, Fox Searchlight Pictures, and Focus Features, with Open Road Films acquiring the distribution rights in the US for $4.5 million. When it came to marketing the film, a fictional video resume for Lou was posted on Craigslist, as well as a few LinkedIn and Twitter profiles being created.
You have to make the money to buy a ticket. You have to make the money to buy a ticket!
It was subsequently nominated for several awards, from Best Original Screenplay at the Academy Awards to 4 nominations at the BAFTAs. Elswit created an eerie beauty of LA through pictures, from the neon lights to the dark corners. Throughout the film, both Gilroy and Elswit agreed to avoid famous locations and instead focus on the realistic and functional side of the city. In order to isolate Lou from the rest of the characters, Elswit often used a shallow depth of field when shooting him in order to bring him out from the background and create depth between the two. He also uses a lot of frames within frames, which are much more apparent later on in the film, but is yet another technique used to separate him from anyone else. Elswit often used a tight frame when shooting Lou, as this allows the audience to focus on him more than anyone else in the frame. Paired with the shallow depth of field and rarely frame within a frame, creates a feeling of not only isolation but unawareness, especially when he is in the moment of shooting an accident. Another way to portray isolation is to shoot very wide as opposed to tight. This can not only create the sense of isolation but loneliness as well. For example, the scene that takes place in the diner, we have Rick in front of the rest of the restaurant, with customers behind him and a pretty deep focus as well as having a good light shine upon him. Lou, on the other hand, has been placed in front of a large window, creating a strong source for Rick but leaving him in the shadows. Both, however, are shot in the centre of a frame, which is often used to create tension between characters. Elswit also uses movement to his advantage, by staying stable for the majority of the film, but when Lou is filming a crime scene, mirror in handheld, creating a very tense atmosphere to the already intense scene. Handheld is often used in cinematography to heighten intensity in a scene, as we are taking one level of stability from the viewer on top of the already unstable scene. This allows the cinematographer to create a very active environment. Overall, Elswit has done an incredible job at creating isolation in a character through his cinematography. He used unique framing to his advantage, whilst keeping the frames interesting to watch. He also uses a range of common techniques, from handheld to wide and close-up shots, to portray both isolation and loneliness. When it came to photographing the film, Elswit used the Arri Alexa XT and Panavision Panaflex Millennium XL2, paired with Panavision's Primos, Super Speed Mark IIs and Ultra Speed Mark IIs, as well as Ingenue's Optimo lenses. Primos offer a high contrast image with minimal ghosting and distortion whilst also keeping the colours balanced. Super speed and ultra speed both add a very yellow hue to the image, as well as having a lower contrast. Optimos, on the other hand, are very accurate and high quality zoom lenses, maintaining incredible image quality, as well as being zooms which neither Primos nor Legacy Primes are. He used Arri Raw on the XT and Kodak's Vision 3 200T on the XL2. 200T is often used when working in a variety of lighting situations, as you can use it in both high contrast outdoor scenarios as well as in the studio. He mainly used the 35mm during daytime and then digitally at night, as it is much easier to get clear images using minimal lighting setups when shooting on digital. Working for such directors as Paul Thomas Anderson, George Clooney and Judd Apatow, Ellsworth has covered a wide range of genres and has been a stark defender of shooting on film, with Nightcrawler being the first that he had shot digitally. Overall, Ellsworth used a number of techniques in order to isolate Lou from the other characters and scenery, but mainly was just his use of unique framing and keeping a shallow depth of field in his scenes. I hope you enjoyed this video on the cinematography behind Nightcrawler. If you have a recommendation for a film that you would like to see me break down, leave a comment down below. If you found this video helpful, a thumbs up is appreciated, and if you'd like to see more videos like this, then hit the subscribe button. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.